Hi, entrepreneurs and small businesses. I'm so glad that you're here to talk about the top business trends that are forecasted for 2022. I wanted to share this video with you, which is a compilation of my own thoughts, but also thoughts taken from a Forbes article, 16 Key Trends That Will Drive Small Business in 2022. I highly recommend this article if you haven't read it, but I'm going to cover most, if not all, of those trends right here now. Hi, I'm Jennifer Drago, and at Peak to Profit, we help entrepreneurs and small businesses develop laser-focused goals and strategy to drive their business forward. 2022 is no exception. Let's talk about what trends we're seeing as we head into this new year. So the global pandemic has disrupted most businesses in many ways. Some of the disruptions we intended that they were going to be temporary, others would be more permanent. In fact, it's looking like many of them are going to be long-lasting. So let's look at a few of these industry disruptors and some of the trends that you need to consider in your strategy going forward for 2022. The first area that we're going to talk about is human resources. As a result of the pandemic, we know that many people have reconsidered their jobs, what they want for work-life balance, and this has impacted us as leaders and also employers in a couple different ways. The first is that there are labor shortages in many key roles. You need to think about where your business is headed and whether you're going to be impacted by one of these shortage areas. In addition, the pandemic has resulted in higher salary ranges for many key jobs, in some cases because of that labor shortage. And so as an employer, you want to retain the best and brightest on your team. It may be time to take a look at your salary ranges to make sure that they're still in the area of competitiveness. Because there's less workers to do the work that we need, this is an opportunity for us to look at the work that we do and see how we can streamline it, how we can make do with perhaps less labor hours or a different type of labor hours. Another point in this area is that many companies moving completely work from home or to more of a hybrid structure, which provides great flexibility for your employees, but it brings with it some challenges. The challenges relate to communication and culture. It's increasingly difficult to build culture, teamwork, accountability when you're completely virtual or hybrid. And so you're going to have to think about what tools you're going to have in place to keep your team aligned and to keep your culture strong. You can do a lot of that virtually, but it takes some intentional thought and intentional planning to do that. Also, consider whether you need to have your employees coming together periodically throughout the year. That could be, if you're close by and not very distributed, it could be weekly, it might be monthly. If you're distributed across the country, you might make an effort to do so quarterly and try to bring your employees in for a retreat. It will have amazing results on your teamwork, on your overall organizational culture, the way you're able to communicate with your employees and hold them accountable if you're able to do that. And of course, I mention that now because we want to include that in your budget for the year. Another thing that's become important from an HR perspective is family first workplace values. So again, with everybody reevaluating their work-life balance and the roles that they want to play during the pandemic, they've also spent a lot more time with their family, and many of them have enjoyed reconnecting with family members and in particular being present for their children. So you want to reevaluate your workplace rules and norms and make sure that they allow your employees to put their family first. Another aspect in the HR world that we need to consider is mental health. Our own mental health first and foremost as the leaders of our organization, but also the mental health of our employees. So whenever you can offer benefits that improve mental health and emotional wellness, try to build those into your employee benefit structure, even if it's some simple things as talking about mindset or meditation or wellness during your team meetings, showing employees that you care, asking them how they're doing and really listening to what the answer is. It's not an exercise. We're really listening to our employees. Those things all can contribute to positive mental health of ourselves and others. Another trend that we're seeing that was highlighted in the Forbes article is emotional intelligence and empathy. So same kind of thing as it relates to our employees. It's making sure that we take time to get to know what's going on in their lives, that we're empathetic to their situations, we're flexible however we can, and that we know as leaders our thoughts are not the be-all end-all, but our employees' values and thoughts are important as well. And then finally, on the HR side, there is an increasing value placed by employees on leaders who are willing to coach and mentor their employees. And again, I'm going to tie this back to the virtual workplace and the fact that we're more virtual. It's really hard to do that without some intention behind it. So you really have to think as a leader, how can I coach my employees up? Remember that when people are virtual, they're more likely to feel insecure about their job performance, about the ability to retain the job long term. They're worried about how you as the leader perceive them. And so that's all part of coaching and mentoring, is sharing your thoughts about how they're doing, where they're working well, where they can improve in a very constructive and appreciative manner. Those are all things that you can do as a leader. I can tell you that even if you're a solopreneur right now, you will need team members in the future. So it's important to start thinking about what values you want your company to have, what culture you want your organization to have as a business, because you are going to drive that culture going forward. These trends are really important because they speak to what our employees are telling us. The next area of trends that I'm going to speak to, and I do believe 100% this is our biggest opportunity as entrepreneurs and small businesses, is customer service. In the world today, I don't know if you've experienced it, but I experience it every single day. There is something that I need that has been disrupted because of COVID. So I'm waiting on a police report for an automobile accident that my dad had. That's going to take months. Normally it would be a turnaround within a week. Why? Well, we don't have enough employees because of COVID. I mean, everything is disrupted because of COVID. Everything is on some kind of automatic phone tree that you can't speak to a real person. If you go on a website, it's really hard sometimes even to figure out how to contact an organization because they've hidden it behind Q&As and chat bots. This is an area where we can still set ourselves apart. Because we're small, admittedly, we have limited human resources to be able to respond, but we can still provide that personal touch, that customer service that is unexpected and goes beyond. Responsiveness, timeliness, we can do all of this. So don't discount that. Pay attention to it because I do believe it's going to be your competitive advantage in the short term and possibly in the long term. In the Forbes article in particular, they suggest that small businesses be quick to adopt big business operational processes and systems. And they actually used some of the things that I just spoke about, automated voice response and phone trees and things like that, to streamline your own services so that you spend less of your time and your employees' time doing those tasks. I understand that as you grow and scale. I think that there's a time and place for certain things, but again, I feel like customer service in our world is at an all-time low, and we should really strive to set ourselves apart in customer service where we can. Another aspect in the customer service world is to make sure that you're using the technologies that your customers are using. So this was kind of an interesting one, and it harkens back to a business that I dealt with recently that asked me to fax something. I don't have a fax. I don't even have access to a fax. I would literally have to track one down and drive to a fax in order to be able to fax something. So I asked if I could email it, and they didn't really have a process to email this form in. Well, you need to be where your clients are. Most of us are getting more digital and more cloud-based. If your customers are communicating on Slack, you want to make sure that you're on Slack with them, etc. So just be mindful of where your customers are communicating and how, and then emulate that in your own business. And then lastly, as we've all transitioned to work from home environments and virtual meetings, One of the things that I would encourage you to do as a business owner is look at the tools that you're using and make sure that they're best in class in serving you and your clients appropriately. And I'll give you an example. I use Google Meet in my business, and it just doesn't serve me as well as Zoom. I've used Zoom in my corporate life, and it's time for me to upgrade and get my own professional Zoom license so that when I'm facilitating meetings, I can use all the features that are incorporated within Zoom, which are a little bit more robust than Meet. Similarly, I do a lot of facilitation, and because we can't be in person as much anymore, it's harder to do that on a virtual setting. So I actually need a virtual whiteboard that I can use. The one available to me in Google is called Jamboard, I think, and it's got great features and it's free, so that's great. But I need to probably invest in something that is a better tool to use in my business. We moved quickly into this virtual world and work from home, and we may not have adopted the best tools. And now there's lots of tools out there, so let's evaluate and make sure we have the best for our business. The next area that I'm going to talk about involves marketing, and there's a whole lot of opportunities for small business in the marketing world. First and foremost, I want to mention personal branding. As small business owners, I know we seek to market our business and our products and our services, but we don't always pay attention to our personal branding. And I think what's really important as business owners is that often we are our brand, and for someone, especially if they're buying from us online, for them to feel comfortable in their purchase, they need to know, like, and trust us. And so we need to spend time with our own personal branding. That was a big leap for me because I've always been, again, in the corporate world and looking at corporate marketing. What I had for breakfast on a Saturday or where I went on vacation wasn't really part of that world. But today it is. It's everything about you as a person, what you stand for, what your values are, what you love to do. That's all part of your personal branding story. So one of the things that you might work on for 2022 might be expanding and enhancing your own personal brand. A lot of that may happen on social media. Another aspect of marketing, and I bet you know this, especially anybody who's in the online world, is that video is king. And so if you're not comfortable going live on video or speaking on video, you need to do that. You also need to incorporate it into all of your marketing assets, from your website to the emails that you send to your social. In the digital world, one of the benefits that we have is digital marketing. We can reach a lot of people inexpensively. It creates a huge efficiency to be able to market digitally. So make sure that you have invested for the benefit of your organization in the digital marketing that makes sense and that you can afford for your business. The next thing in marketing is digital presence, and this really is highlighted in a couple of ways in the Forbes article. One of the aspects that they focus on is really the lead generation capabilities of Google to advance your business. So that includes having a Google My Business profile, using search engine optimization, and potentially even using ads to grow your business. Where it makes sense, I would investigate these capabilities. Another marketing opportunity for 2022 is cross-collaboration opportunities. Do you know anybody that's an online influencer that uses your products or that would offer a testimonial for your services, or even that you can collaborate with on a speaking engagement or a blog post? It's really interesting how fast you can grow your business and your prospective customers through these collaborations, because you're basically leveraging someone else's audience and being able to share your message with that audience. If you haven't yet participated in these collaborations, I would put that on your goal list for this coming year and see if you can work on a few of these and understand what those results could be. And finally, in the marketing category, networking with other business owners, small business owners in particular. And so I would advocate doing this both in person, if you're able to, and online. So let's go to in person first. Even if you are an online business whose geography for marketing is global, I would advocate for you trying out some in-person local networking groups. First, you're bound to find additional clients. Second, you're going to get used to pitching your product, pitching your business, that personal branding. People can know, like, and trust you when you go to a weekly networking meeting with them. You are going to meet some amazing business owners yourselves, which you will use for services. That has happened to me multiple times. But then also that you can identify those collaboration opportunities. I know it's asking a lot to do in-person meetings if your world is really focused online, but you're going to see benefits that come back to you in multiples from that experience. And then translate that experience to online. Same thing applies. We have Facebook groups for everything. We have all kinds of accountability pods and different ways that we can interact with like-minded business owners. Do that and grow your customer base from there. And the final area that I'm going to cover has to do with strategic inventory management and supply chain issues. This may not apply as much if you are solely a digital product owner, if you don't offer any physical products, but if you use or offer physical products in any way in your business, some of these will likely apply. We know that the disruption in the supply chain is impacting many of us. We can't get the supplies we need, therefore the prices of those supplies are higher, gas prices are higher, there's a huge trucker shortage. Those supply chain issues, by the way, at least in the US, are going to continue for a long time because there's not an easy fix to the trucker shortage issue. So if you use products or supplies or raw materials in your business, this obviously is going to have an impact on your 22 business strategy. So what can you do to either source new products or look at your products a little differently in 2022 that will benefit you? Another thing that you should think of as an entrepreneur is if you're impacted by any of these supply disruptions and increased prices, is it time to revisit your own pricing strategy? So if you've had a huge increase in cost because of gas prices and supply shortages, have you made the requisite adjustments to your own pricing strategy? You may also want to evaluate your product strategy going forward. We need to be really agile as it relates to identifying our products and what we're able to offer to our clients. Maybe it's time to rethink some of those, especially if you're adversely impacted by the supply chain issues. As we enter our strategic planning and goal setting for 2022, I encourage you to take these trends into account and to really take some time to think about what do they mean for your business and what adjustments that you'll need to make in the coming year. I think you should think through these trends before embarking on your strategic planning process. And hopefully, if you are a solopreneur, bring some like-minded folks around you that have similar businesses, that know your business, that are partners in your business, or even your employees. Have them think through some of these with you. My recommendation is that you set some time aside with some key strategic thinkers like yourself and think about what impact this is going to have on your business going forward and how you can respond. That will make for a stronger strategic plan, and you will be head and shoulders above your competition moving forward. If you like business strategy content like what you've heard today, please subscribe to this channel and give us a thumbs up on the video so that others will get to see it as well.